Okay, welcome back everybody, back from that short break there. And we're now very honoured and excited to hear from Chay Godfree, who's going to be speaking to us for our next talk. Chay is the founder and visionary behind CropsnotShops, which is a grassroots organisation looking to grow organic food in all available spaces, and we'll be hearing more about it in the coming talk. But also, excitingly, within this talk, Chay is going to be talking about taking back our power and creating resource-based economies. So really honoured to have you here, Chay. Welcome.
Thank you
for joining us.
Thank you. Am I live? Can everyone hear me okay?
And I'm going to hand the group over to you, Chay, for your talk. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Jonathan. Thank you, everyone, at the Sacred Earth Activism Conference. It's an amazing honour to be here, a privilege to share this space with you. And before I introduce myself and talk about what I've come here to talk about, I'd just like to invite everyone just to step into a small prayer with me to give thanks. So maybe if you just like to hold your heart, however you feel, just like to give thanks for this time on earth, to ourselves, for being strong through this time, for rising up and recognising the work that needs to be done. We're grateful for each other, for friends, connections, relatives, family. We wish everyone stays strong and guided and in truth. And may everyone keep the faith and the hope alive. Give thanks to the earth, the air, the fire, the waters, and the Holy Spirit. Give thanks for our ancestors for bringing us up to this time, and we bless future generations so that they may stay strong and in the highest vibration for the greatest good and highest good of all. One love, Rastafari bless. Welcome forward, everyone. Thank you. My name is Chay Godfree. I live in the southeast of England in a small county called Essex, just outside of London. I'm 36 years old, and I am the visionary of a grassroots revolutionary movement called CropsnotShops. A little bit about my background is I've worked on land and working with children, creating wildlife gardens, regenerating school areas, local council plots, working with local authorities, homeless outreach groups, just basically reaching out to as many underprivileged or disadvantaged people as I can over the last 10 years, wanting to really impact society by giving as much back as I could through the knowledge of sharing and what it means to live in and be in community. So yeah, that's a little bit about me. Very powerful year, I should say, for us all. Very powerful time to be on earth right now. Very blessed time. What a blessing that we chose to come back and be, here to share this consciousness shift with everyone. It's been too long. We've been down in the valley too long. We've had our light dimmed for too long. We've had our spirit crushed for too long, the masculine, the feminine. And this talk today I'm going to be breaking it into two sections. So the first one, a little bit about taking back our inner power, our inner light. And the second section will be about what the movement is about, CropsnotShops, and creating a resource-based economies. So once again, thank you, everyone. I hope this comes through okay. Yeah, it's going to be amazing, and I'm really grateful to be here. So what does it actually mean to take back our power? Does it mean to be activists on the outside? In a way, yeah, but really what I feel that this time has brought us is about taking back all of the inside, taking back our inner light, our inner strength, our guidance, our inner tuition, and really doing the inner work. Taking back our power means owning what it really is to be human being and moving and stepping away from this current system of illusion and control, and our connection to each other and to spirit, because what we've done, what's happened with, I suppose over the last 200, 300, 400 years, even further back than that, is we've lost our connection to the earth, to ceremony, to ritual, to prayer, to each other, to our children, to the land. And we've been moved into a consumerist society that does not serve us any longer. So what this time for me has helped spark is that it's the greatest opportunity and chance to really change that we've ever known. And this current crisis has brought us closer together in many ways. It's brought us back to our inner light. It's brought us back to our inner tuition, our inner connection to each other and to spirit. It's a very difficult, road to take. It's a very difficult, path to walk when we're looking at our stuff, our darkness, our shit, basically. Excuse my language, but what the sacred spirit is saying is that everything has happened in this time to really shift, to really bring us into this higher states of consciousness, to really remember who we are as one people. Remember what we're here to do. Remember that we are very much light beings and light bodies in this time, doing the inner work on each other, doing the inner practices, staying in ceremony and prayer, and connecting back to nature, as our greatest teacher, as our greatest healer, as our greatest healer, I should say, actually. Doing my inner work this year has helped me grow and has helped myself personally look around for the same type of connection that we're all searching for, the real deep inner community connection, that we are craving. Humanity has been craving this deep inner connection for so long. We've strayed so far from our creator, creatoress, God, goddess, whatever we want to call it. The Holy Spirit's been missing from humanity for too long, but because this crisis has happened, it's actually shifting us back to that way, back to nature, back to community, back to recognizing our importance of ceremony and caring for the land and caring for the trees and caring for the soil and caring for our children, and has really helped us rise in that spirit. But what I've noticed is that the women of Earth are really, really rising, and the men are running, and that can't happen any longer. It has to be brought back into balance. There's lots of great stuff happening. The women are really, really rising, I have to say, because going on to the crops movement in a minute, I'll tell you that all of the volunteers that came was women. We had maybe 1 or 2 men out of 30, 40 women that came every week. And that just shows me that the female energy within us all is really rising, and we shouldn't really be scared of that anymore. We have to embrace that nurturing, that care, that mother love, that sister, that daughter, that auntie nurturing that we so desperately have been missing in society for so long. So, taking back our power is about doing the inner work for me. It's about recognizing that we've come here to break our ancestral cycles. We've come here to break our ancestral, habits and karmas, and really do what we can to live strong for our children. We're not going to be able to break them all in this lifetime, don't get me wrong. Some of us have got really a lot of burden, a lot of karma, but we've chose that in this time to come and, serve that light and serve that purpose. We've come here to live on purpose. We come here to be something other than just this robotic, drone in the system that's just on this conveyor belt of cycle recycle this consumerist way. And I think we've got to really step out, or we've got to look at stepping outside of this system, unless we want to be a part of this system. Me personally, I don't want to be a part of this system. Not going too much into any sort of conspiratorial mindset, but you know, the way that it's gone over the last 2 years, we can see how it's going to go over the next 2 years. You know, might be food shortages, water contamination, electric, all of that stuff. You know, it's really give us a chance to look at what our time here is on, what our impact is. You know, the inner work, taking back our inner powers, recognizing what are my choices, what am I actually doing here for the earth and for myself. Am I a hypocrite? Am I preaching one thing and living another? You know, these are the questions we have to be asking ourselves. There is no right or wrong. We're all in a situation where we're at different stages of this journey on the earth, but we have come here in this time to rise in a higher consciousness. That's my personal feeling. That's my true belief. There's many dead souls walking on the earth. Unfortunately, not everyone is going to make it. Prophecy said that there will be the great time of tribulation and trials. There'll be all kinds of floods and, you know, damnation on the earth, but the meek shall inherit it. I feel it's the opposite. Maybe so, you know. We'll answer the questions after. Sorry, I'm just reading what's on my screen here. But it is a beautiful time to really be on the earth right now. And that's taking back our power and inner light, doing the work, you know, trying to break whatever habitual cycles there is. Me personally, I've done a lot of inner work this year, but I've been welcoming all of the trials into my life in order to just dissipate it and then move forward into a new state. You know, at the beginning of this year, I had a heart attack. I'm 36, you know, and I believe it's a spiritual, an emotional thing, what happened to me, in order to clear out some old emotion of my heart to let new stuff in. And that's what happens when we keep things inside. We don't do the inner work. We're not looking at our traumas and our stuff. Then we can't progress forward. So yeah, I suppose that's the spiritual aspect of taking back our inner power. Now, the CropsnotShops movement, which is my purpose, which is why I'm here, is it came through a vision to me from Spirit. It was an absolute clear 20-minute layout and a breakdown of the stages of how it should happen, why it should happen, what it is, how it will happen, and the end result. So when the COVID crisis hit, or you know, the shift of consciousness came forward, beginning of 2020, I sat on my sofa and I prayed and I said, what should I do? What can I do in order to help this, help society in a more, you know, impactful and deep way, which is going to help people live more sustainably, more resourcefully, more towards more of a self-sufficient lifestyle. And it just came through. He said, put a post out online and help people grow food in their gardens. You know, because I've got an allotment, I've got a couple of allotments, been doing this growing food for a while, on and off over the last 7 years, and it went boom. And I had messages from friends, yeah, please come and change our garden into allotments. So I didn't know at that time exactly how many people would uptake this, you know, exactly how we would manage the, you know, the movement to go forward. But I started on my bicycle, took a few plants around to my friend's garden, you know, created a little space, grew some food, maybe planted 3 or 4 crops in his garden, took some pictures, put a post out online. It was mental. It just, you know, it spiraled and spiraled and spiraled. I ended up doing a garden every single day. Didn't really have a model that would be created to, you know, connect everyone up at that time. But maybe 10 or 12 gardens later, and then another allotment came forward, and then we thought, actually, we're really onto something here. Let's reach out and ask a few people if they want to come and be a part of a community allotment. You know, come down and, you know, help grow food and help, you know, teach people how to live more connected to the land, because it's said that planting food is, or learning how to plant something into the ground, you know, in a really sacred and ceremonial way is the first connection to the spirit. And that's truly what I feel, you know, putting our hands in the earth, watching whether it's a seed or a plantling, a seedling, watching it grow, whether it be trees. We have a common symbiosis with this cycle, with the natural cycle of life. You know, planting something actually shows us a lot about ourselves. Shows us that we need space, we need a certain amount of light, we need a certain amount of dark to grow, water, nurturing. You know, some things like to be left in order for them to really come forward and grow. Yeah, so crops. Why CropsnotShops? I guess there's a few reasons actually. One of them maybe came for a bit of panic, you know, maybe came for a bit of fear. What do we need to do? There's going to be food shortages. Let's do this. Like, let's grow food in as many gardens, as many community spaces, you know, allotments, churches, schools, land. You know, took over a plot in London, a council allotment space. I've reached out to a few people and said, look, we're going to plant a load of trees, a load of heritage heirloom trees in a disused council building. And there was like a residential green space outside and an old derelict allotment. Got 30 people down there for a really powerful day. This is in the middle of the pandemic. This is right in the middle of the crisis. And then we planted 33 trees. We transformed the whole allotment, put loads of fruit bushes in, you know, and every week we was going back to this site, really, you know, using all of the resources that we had around, you know, local water baths, finding old bits of wood and guttering, and really made it into like a thriving food growing space for the residents. And that's what we wanted to do. That's what we want to do. And why should that happen? Because, you know, no one knows really where this is going to go. Well, there might well be food shortages all over the earth. We might well have to just get back to this basic, really localized, radical way of living, you know, sharing each other's resources, working locally, working really, you know, tight with our local communities, working in each other's spaces, and with no need for money. Like, this was created all on a, should we say, free or fair shares a basis, that we wouldn't have to exchange money in order to get something. So this transactional, you know, way. It was like, we'll grow your food, and in return, like, you give us the space, we'll grow the food. In return, we'll take a little bit of that produce and then we'll share it out with the local community, or yourself, or whoever needs some food or some inspiration or some community living. So what is CropsnotShops? It is a fair, I'll change the word from free, because nothing is free. It's a fair sharing food network. It sounds like if you trusted. Oh, sorry. Sorry, I'm looking at the questions that keep popping up. I feel, what should we say? I feel very closely connected to helping each other. Should we say this? Build community. Yeah, this is what CropsnotShops is about. It's about building community and inspiring people to come together, to use each other's land, to use the land, to use local gardens and shops and schools and any space that we can grow food to share out without the need for money. That's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to do. We're going to transform 500 gardens. We've got lots of stuff planned out, 50 gardens in 50 days. We're working on 4 different sites. So we also accumulated or managed to build partnership with 4 different sites. One site is called the Woodland Wound Project in Chelmsford. There's another site in Brentwood, a permaculture site. There's a hemp farm in Sussex, and there is a massive allotment plot in Southend-on-Sea. Now, we're linked in with lots of different charitable organisations that bring people to workshops on some of these sites. Yeah, I mean, this is what it really boils down to. It's like, do we want to change? How do we do it? What can we do to change? Now, my small part in this system is just to really be with people on the land, grow as much food as we can, show people that we can live more organically, more sustainably, more resourcefully by coming together and sharing each other's resources. Now, I know that, you know, we're just at the early stages of Crops. It's only a year and a half old. We worked at many festivals this year, trying to outreach as much of this conscious vibration as we can. And it just comes through a need, I suppose, a need to create more love on the earth. Yeah, it's not been easy. I mean, it's not totally clear where it's going to go. CropsnotShops, it's so massive. Like, there's so many people wanting us to use their land. You know, so many schools wanting us to come and do this work for them, and it's because we don't ask for any money. I think that's the main attraction. I think one of the main attraction is that, you know, it's created to share and barter. So within people's gardens, if there's 50 gardens growing food at one time through the harvest period, they can all bring a little bit of the excess to some of these sites that we're working on, and then take a little bit, leave a little bit, take a little bit, leave a little bit. I mean, that's the future model, because we only just started, like I say, but, you know, that's the idea, creating free food, fair sharing food, you know, by growing local organic fresh produce allotments, and then bringing it to the site so they can share the excess. And then, like, working with the ethics of a free world charter down the line, we could harvest free energy, you know, solar power, biogas digestion, all of this stuff that can come in the future. You know, we can help produce free medicine, free education, free housing. We have enough of this. You know, there's enough resources to create this kind of hope on the earth, and I feel that that's the way we need to go now. It's really the only option for me. So, you know, resource-based economies are just exactly that. So if we've got like an area of Essex that we're all using the same methods, you know, or using the same consciousness, the same resources, we don't have to ship loads of stuff from all over the world. We don't have to take more stuff from the earth. We have enough already to create exactly what we need to create here. Now, you know, harvesting, you know, fresh water, all of this stuff can be accounted as resource-based economies, you know, using our own fuel, you know, creating fuels from hemp and, you know, biofuels, turning our already waste plastic back into oil. There's already, you know, there is companies doing it. It costs a lot, and that's the problem. It always boils down to how much things cost. But I think we as people don't have to rely on these corporations or these massive, you know, government organisations in order to do this stuff ourselves. Really, there's a lot of good people out there as well that want to support this stuff. There's a lot of people with land that want us to use the land to help create more education and more free food for everything. And I think this is what's needed, you know, direct action, you know, actual action, changing, just doing it. You know, it's all right asking for permission, but they don't ask permission for treating us a certain way. So we're not going to ask any permissions any longer. We're just going to do what we need to do in order to support our local community. It's going to continue. It's going to grow. CropsnotShops is in Ireland. We're working in collaboration with some people in Kenya and Africa. We're going to, you know, we're going to send out lots of seeds to them. Okay, it may well not be such a resource-based economy, but they need help just as much as we do. Yeah, so, I mean, the land is what we're looking for. If anyone on this conference has land, we're also based in a project in Bath and Glastonbury as well. So we've got certain area managers that are looking for us to collaborate. You know, we've got a massive volunteer network of over 300-400 people that are really dedicated as well. So they'll come, you know, they'll help, and we can get 30-40 people to come and transform a whole site within a weekend. We have all the tools, we have all the seeds, We just need some land. If there's polytunnels and stuff to propagate and grow over the extended periods, and that's really what we're about, you know, and that's hopefully what we can do for the future. Now, I have this vision of it going global over the next few years. I really feel that it's a good way to help aid us into a more sustainable future, and also a good way for the ones that want to step outside of this system totally to really use and connect up the networks without having to rely on so much of this current fragile, crumbling system that no one knows exactly what's going to happen or where it's going to go over the next few years. So yeah, I mean, I think I've covered most of what I need to cover within the mission, taking back our power. I mean, I probably spoke a little bit fast. Could have broke it down a little bit smaller. I'm excited, you know, to be here, and I have a lot to say. So it's just like, yeah, it's great.
Thank you so much for Chay. That is a very exciting vision, and people are commenting in the chat here about how amazing it is, what the vision that you've had and what you've created in this time. And there's a bunch of questions in there. So if now's good, I'll kind of begin with the questions.
Yeah, please, let's go.
There's a few as well comments that sort of speak to a question as well, which I'll bring in. But just starting with this one here from Grace, it says, "Good hearing you, Chay. This is local radical activism in its element. Yes." Wondering, how have local greengrocers responded? Have they been supportive? You know, like kind of the wider shipping of veg across the planet makes no sense, but has there been a local response from greengrocers?
So we haven't actually, where we're only like a year and a bit old, we haven't actually gone into so much produce where we can start talking to local greengrocers. It's been more about supporting local volunteers, local schools, children projects, you know, bringing people to land, to plant trees for the future. So we're not at that stage yet, but for definite. Also, the title Crops Not Shops is about, you know, not reaching out to so many shops and creating a bartering system. So I mean, using we do have plans to reach out to local greengrocers for all of the waste food. So we've been given a lot of waste food. We actually was given lots of food from temples and from food banks, all of the old stuff to distribute out equally as well. So as well as growing our own food, we do share out whatever excess, because obviously we need to get away from the waste that's produced from growing food and stuff.
Gotcha. There's a couple of people who have asked about kind of how this can be brought further north, and is there already something further north?
So there's lots of people that are volunteering up north. Unfortunately, we haven't actually found a site up north that we can operate from. So if anyone knows of any farmland, any, you know, plots, any big allotments that we could operate from on a community basis, then we'd absolutely love to expand this more north, obviously throughout the whole country. But we're Midlands downwards to the south at the minute.
Gotcha. And Krista did pop the link into the chat there, so do save that link, everybody. And if you do know places where you can reach out and kind of bring this together, that would be fantastic. There's a few comments that came in when you were talking about where the vision came from. Mm-hmm. I want to kind of start by saying one of the things that I noticed right at the start of the talk, I welcomed everybody back and you welcomed everybody forward. And I am wondering about this in terms of the forward movement that you've seen with Crops Not Shops. Now, people in the chat, there was a couple of comments speaking about how, yes, at the start of lockdown, many people did turn towards, oh gosh, how can we reach out and support each other as a community? And then as time has gone on, people have found themselves going back into, or society as a whole has found itself kind of going back into the kind of the old patterns and the old behaviors of doing things, of going back to, yes, you know, kind of business as usual. And just wondering what you feel has been the kind of contributing to what's allowed Crops Not Shops to continue moving forward in that way, continue growing forward, and what kind of advice would you give to people in keeping this positive movement progressing in this way?
Never give up. Never give up on your dreams. Never lose faith on what is actually something that's really calling to you. I feel like, yeah, we could easily stop Crops Not Shops. I mean, it's not easy. It's been a really challenging, tough, beautiful lesson, but we have to keep on going forward with this mission. You know, if we have purpose and we have dreams and we have, you know, hope and visions, you know, to suddenly stop them because society just opens back up, it seems really weak and absurd to me to do that. I feel like I'm 110% dedicated to this mission, and the persistence over the next 10 years from my drive and the inspiration I get from the wonderful community and volunteers around me to see that vision together is absolutely the contributing factor. Is get around people that support your vision. Don't worry about people that put you down. There's always going to be naysayers on the earth. There's always going to be people pointing the fingers at people that are trying to do something great. And there's always going to be accusations of certain things that happen within groups. It happens all over. I've studied a lot of this stuff, you know, watch a lot of these inspirational talkers, and they all say the same thing. Just keep going forward, 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 and don't look back. You know, we're all going to make mistakes. We're all going to be going through waves of up and down. You know, things happen. And especially with growing food, you know, you can lose a whole crop in a month. You know, you can lose a whole, with the seasons that are changing, with the current climates that are shifting all around the earth right now, farmers and growers are having a really tough time really regulating their harvesting seasons. Now, we lost a load of crops this year in June because of the late frost, you know. Now, who predicted snow or late frost in June? So it's really just about persistence. It's about really staying firm in the vision and being really honest and true to ourselves about why we're doing this as well. So I really just want to inspire people and, you know, get people together and feel better about their life, you know. And, you know, maybe people don't want to grow the food, but people do love to come and be a part of community when we're doing these lovely days and these workshops as well. So they go back and then they find some more inspiration in their own life that could help them in, you know, whatever purpose they want to share with the world. Not everyone has the same purpose, but if we recognize the deep inner spiritual reason of why we're here and all find our own way, then we can bring all that together and share each other's skills and inspiration, you know. So yeah, I'm never going to stop this. This is going to go mega. This is going to be a massive global mission.
Amazing. And as you described, it's not just the crops that are growing, it's the community that is growing around it, which is fantastic.
Yeah, so just to tap onto that, we was at a camp out in Bath, and there was 26 people, so it was a balance. And I pulled everyone aside and I said, thank you for this, you know, what's the reason that you come to the crops meeting? And exactly half said, oh, we love the vision, and exactly half said we love to be in community. So it is really about you know, that community connection.
Yeah, fantastic. You were saying in the talk as well about planting in ceremony and how ceremony is a part of that. Are you able to talk a bit more about kind of about the planting and ceremony and how that is a part of what you do with Crops Not Shops?
I mean, so I think everything should be now in ceremony. I think we've lost that, you know, that prayer and that giving thanks to food and that giving thanks to our life when we wake up. And, you know, I try to do that as much as I can within my own life. You know, sometimes we just forget, but I never forget to say a prayer or give my thanks when I'm putting something into the earth, and, you know, the gratitude I have for the beautiful life that sustains us through this food, through the air, through the waters, you know, through the warmth of the sun. So when I plant food, I say a little thanks. I manifest, I almost visualize what the food will do when it's on the plate, and, you know, the energy that the earth's given to that produce in order to help it grow. I think that brings us really back to humbling ourselves and our small, significant, insignificant life we have here. We're not bigger than anything else. We're actually just a part of this cycle, and that's what really I like to remember. We did an event. We raised some money at the Woodland Wound Project for planting lots of trees, and they're gonna, I think it's lindenberries. We planted 33 lindenberry trees in a circle. There was 33 people who came. It was £33 per person donation for that raising for the money for the geodesic polydome. But it just so happened to land on the 333 third day of the year, which means there was 33 days left to the end of the year. See, all of this sacred, like, you know, synchronicities are really important to the way we do this work and what effect it has on, you know, you know, the earth and our works here. So everything is sacred, you know, everything has a spirit in my eyes, everything has, you know, energy and is given a life. And yeah, that's how I like to do it. So when we're planting food, we just give thanks. We just give thanks to the water that's nourishing it. And I beg everyone to do that, please. Yeah.
I can see in the comments that's already resonating with people talking about how they always speak into the seeds and plants when they're not working.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. We've got another question here by Imogen asking if you have any advice in supporting our men through this transition as the feminine and masculine come into balance, touching on something you said kind of early on in the
so like recently as well, or just at the beginning of the, shall we say, the consciousness shift, for the first year, I felt totally like a lion, like a fucking raging, like strong, you know, inspirational leader. Like I found that power within myself. I knew what I had to do for 2020, and that's why the vision got so implemented as a deep foundation. And then this year, I had a heart attack beginning of the year, and it just wiped me out. It literally wiped me out. It made me really remember the suffering of what men are going through right now. I think, you know, our men and our brothers are really struggling. I suggest that as many men as possible just connect with local men groups. There's no shame in speaking or crying. You know, we all need each other. Our brothers have been shushed for too long with, oh, you know, be a man, don't cry, man up, and all this nonsense that actually it has no place in this current rising right now. So I personally am holding a men's circle on the 10th of December. It's in Essex. It might well be moved till January now, just because the land may well be waterlogged. But yeah, I mean, I suggest that men really be honest with themselves, be honest with them women, be honest with your, you know, our children, and just be strong and open to expressing what it is they want to express. You know, feel no way about crying. You know, don't hold back any tears or fears anymore. You know, just really try and really try and be strong and vulnerable. Vulnerability, be strong in our vulnerability. You know, it's way more authentic. And yeah, I think that's all the advice I can give, really. Our men really, we feel you, brothers. I pray for the brothers to rise up, man.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. We began kind of today with hearing on co-liberation, and there was a message within that to do with us all feeling safe enough to be able to feel free. And, you know, that is kind of something that is there kind of collectively and individually with everybody. And exactly as you talk about with those spaces for men to speak and share, is to be able to kind of drop into a part of themselves where they can be more vulnerable and where they can be more kind of connected with themselves in a way that the society doesn't kind of currently structure itself around. And that's kind of another way in which, you know, that healing can begin. So thanks for that.
Absolutely, yeah.
Please do kind of chip in with more questions in the chat there. I'm just going to read out some of the comments.
Yeah, give us some more.
There's one saying about on this topic of gender, you know, where we may present as a gender, but, you know, there's the masculine and feminine weaving together, and there is something in that in terms of, you know, we all kind of feel and recognize and share what we're speaking, whatever gender we kind of may present as. There's one here saying our ancestors planted and cared for the land in the way that you're describing before industrialization. And I guess in that there's kind of a case of before we started seeing the land as a thing, as an it, rather than, you know, as you described, Chay, as a being that we're kind of interconnected with, that we're part of the web of life with. And this is what you're describing here, is then a returning to our truth in that.
Well, that's really our inner power. You know, there is a light we have inside of all of us that really has been dim for so long, you know, but it's rising. It's really, you know, shining through now. We're all here for, there's probably not ever been a time on earth where we've all been so aware of this, you know, sacred spirit globally. I mean, you know, and small pockets of indigenous people really showing, you know, Western civilizations what it really means to live connected back to nature, you know, the ancient way. And there may well be a massive split on Earth of like, you know, there'll be like this one society of, you know, being, you know, tested and, you know, all of this stuff, you know, not being able to move and regulations and restrictions. And there'll probably just be like this network of beautiful land people who just want to care for each other, you know, share healing and ceremonial circles, and you eat good food together. You know, I see us all just like living beautifully on the earth, you know, dancing and singing, and, you know, the children's running free, but it's just not this like strict, you know, heavy, you know, do this, don't do that, do this, don't think like this, think like that. I think that that's, and really it's our choice of which one we want to go in now. You know, like we're given a choice. Literally, we're given a choice now. Onwards, forward. Yes, sir.
Yeah, you saw that and read that. Yeah, not stepping backwards. Thank you so much. Something needing to go, but kind of really grateful for what you're sharing there with that message. Part of our work is as being there to hold those as they awaken. And that's kind of a big part of the honor. Yeah, I wonder kind of about that in terms of, yes, there will be people who will be clinging on to kind of what they know in terms of the system that we have. And, you know, part of what you're also doing in the communities that you're building is a way showing, is showing the way of how we could do things and how we could change.
And also, like, none of us are above like this struggle. We're all going to feel it, you know. We've chose to feel it. I really feel like I want to embrace the feelings and sit with them. If I get depressed one day, that's all right, you know. It's just how we act on that going forward. If we sit around being depressed every day, we're never going to progress. But, you know, this anger and this, you know, scared feeling is going to be within us all at this time. You know, it's about really living as much above that as we can, and, you know, stepping outside of it as much as we can, and really holding a space for other people that may well be feeling that as well, you know. Yeah.
I mean, there is a shared experience of that, and, you know, we've talked this morning about kind of the emotion side of it, of how going through that and working through that is important without getting stuck in it to the point that it kind of stops that moving forward, as you say.
Absolutely.
So would you tell us again, for those people who are wanting to get involved, those are people who are wanting to kind of support what you're doing, where they can find out more information? And you talked about some things that you've got coming up with the groups. If you're able to let us know any more about those for people to...
Yeah. So we've got a website being launched at anytime soon. It's been built for a little while now because there's so many things going on with it and so many sites that we're managing. It's taken a while, but there's a landing page on the website that you can sign up and, you know, leave your comments, and we'll send out newsletters once a month is what we've been doing. There's Facebook pages, CropsnotShops. There's an Irish CropsnotShops group for information on how to grow food and how to connect. Oh, it's saying I tried to register, don't think it works. Okay, I'll check into that, thank you. Yeah, that's the website. There's you can contact me direct, Chay Godfree, my personal page. I'm very public and open about everything we're doing. And all of our events will be shared through mainly at the minute, the Facebook pages. So I know many people are on Facebook. We're on Instagram as well. I'm trying to come off of the social medias. Just like to run everything through the website because, you know, there's too many restrictions again. And again, it's about choosing which society we really want to be in. So all of it is going to be swapped over to the website, and, you know, the camp outs next year. And we have like a whole year is worth of volunteer programs going on next year, free educational workshops. As I say, like some of these sites that we're working on are also doing beautiful things, not just Crops Not Shops. There's the woodland where we planted a food forest, dedicates a lot of their energy to, you know, the female, the women's energy. The hemp farm in Sussex obviously is growing hemp and mushrooms and doing lots of cool stuff down there. Permaculture site in Essex, in Brentwood, doing lots of shamanic work there as well as growing food. The ones in Bath and Glastonbury, again, you know, like lots of this educational stuff, but also lots of workshops and, you know, should I say it, for example, in Bath, they're spinning cloves and, you know, growing their own stuff to anything in West Somerset. So yes, there is actually Bath and Glastonbury. we're very close to setting up a program for them next year. We have a few events going on at the Climate Emergency Centre in Ilford in London. I don't know if you heard about this building. Basically, my good friends of mine took over a building in Ilford, and they've created it's called the Climate Emergency Centre. I'd suggest check it out. Probably will have heard about it already, but we're going to be working closely with them, you know, doing some you know, conferences. Hopefully we can do a Sacred Earth activism there one day. You know, that would be great. Yeah, so basically it's my personal page, Facebook pages, CropsnotShops website. Nothing in Devon yet, but we are linked to many volunteers all over the country. We're looking for sites. That's what really we want. We want land that we can come and create this really resourceful, you know, resource-based economy, basically, through the networks of sharing.
That's fantastic. So I think one of the key messages, I can see a lot of people in different places asking, what about this place? What about this place? Key message is, if you can help, there's the ways to get involved. There's how you can kind of link up with it. And, you know, if you know anyone where there is land to be doing that. I can see as well in the comments there, Imogen has asked if you'd be able to come and talk with her community and see how you can be involved there. So many people incredibly inspired by what you're sharing and what you're talking about, what's grown from the vision that you had, and wanting to get involved. So I think there's already been the links going to the chat there, so do join into or kind of click on those links and save those links and make sure you can get involved that way. And we'll look to keep on sharing what you're doing, Chay, with CropsnotShops in the Sacred Earth Activism group as well, so people can keep up to date with it all. But I say a big thank you to you today for joining us for this talk.
Thank you.
For answering all of these questions, and for the vision that you've had, that you've listened to, and that you've not given up, that you've carried on going forward with. And just like the organic food that's growing, it's beautiful to see how it's growing and how many people are inspired to be part of that as well.
Well, yeah, the whole movement is growing organically, excuse the pun, but yeah, it's going forward, man. So yeah, I'd just like to just say, you know, a little leaving note, you know, just a many thanks for you as well, you guys at the Sacred Earth Activism, for bringing this conference forward. May long may it continue. Well done for getting all the speakers and everyone involved. Thank you for the inspiration and the invitation to speak here. Yeah, thank you for everyone who's joined us today, for being here and sharing this energy with us. Thank you to all of the volunteers at CropsnotShops and all the love we shared from everyone. You know, may God grant us the serenity to accept the things we cannot change, the courage and strength to change the things we can, the wisdom to know the difference. Rastafari. Bless. Thank you, brother. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Bless. Thanks a lot.